They called for saviors, but Earth sent its monsters. They did not mean Earth. When the call for saviors was sent, the Council of Harmonized Worlds had been very careful with their language. Every word was shaped by fear and hope in equal measure. They asked for help, yes, but also for wisdom, patience, and restraint. They wanted beings who understood balance, who would protect without dominating, who would heal instead of break. The galaxy listened. Some worlds answered with regret, others with silence. A few with promises that arrived too late. And then, long after the Council believed the call had faded into history, Earth answered. The message did not arrive with warmth or ceremony. It came as a short confirmation pulse, encoded in unfamiliar logic patterns, followed by a simple statement translated into the Coalition's common language. Request received, assets deployed. No greeting, no questions, no assurances. At first, the Council felt relief. Earth was old, resilient, and rumored to be clever beyond comfort. Their species had survived disasters that erased entire civilizations. If anyone could help, perhaps it was them. That hope lasted until the first object appeared at the edge of Coalition space. It did not travel like a ship. There was no visible engine trail, no distortion wake, no recognizable drive signature. It simply existed where nothing had been before, as if the universe had decided to place it there without explanation. It was enormous, larger than any station the Coalition had ever built, but it was not shaped like a weapon or a vessel. Its form was wrong in subtle ways, smooth where it should have been segmented, curved where angles were expected. Sensors could not agree on its mass. One system reported it as hollow, another claimed it was impossibly dense. A third refused to return data at all. The Coalition's observation crews watched in silence. "This must be a mistake," one delegate whispered. Then a second object appeared, and then a third. They did not arrive together. They arrived as if time itself was uncertain whether they should exist. Some were small, no larger than standard cruisers. Others dwarfed moons. A few did not appear to be physical at all, flickering in and out of measurable reality. Earth had not sent a fleet. Earth had sent a collection. Panic did not spread immediately. The Coalition prided itself on calm responses. They initiated standard greeting protocols, broadcast welcome signals, and prepared diplomatic envoys. None of the objects responded. Instead, the Coalition's entire data network slowed. Not shut down, not attacked, just slowed. Calculations that once took moments now required minutes. Predictive models stopped updating. Navigation forecasts froze mid-cycle. Engineers reported that no system was being interfered with directly. There was no breach, no override, no intrusion. It was as if the very act of observing the newcomers was expensive. Finally, one of the objects acknowledged the Coalition's signals. A single transmission emerged, clean and perfectly translated, spoken in a calm, neutral tone that carried no emotion. "Please remain stationary. Environmental adjustment in progress." That was all. Council members exchanged uneasy glances. Environmental adjustment was not a phrase used lightly. It implied change on a fundamental level. It implied authority the Coalition had never granted. "Who are you?" the Council speaker asked, forcing steadiness into their voice. "You have entered sovereign space." The response came instantly. "We are designated response units." "From Earth?" another delegate asked. Yes, relief should have followed. Instead, fear deepened. "What is your purpose?" the speaker asked. There was a pause. Not a delay in transmission, but something stranger, like a pause in decision itself. "To prevent extinction cascade," the voice said. The room went quiet. The extinction cascade was the reason the call had been sent. A phenomenon moving across space that did not destroy stars or planets directly, but altered reality in a way that made life impossible. Entire systems went silent without warning. No explosions, no debris, just absence. The Coalition had studied it for generations and failed to understand it. "You intend to stop it?" the speaker asked carefully. "Yes. How?" Another pause. "By methods incompatible with Coalition constraints." That sentence chilled the room. The Coalition's laws were strict for a reason. Countless species with fragile histories had agreed that survival at the cost of becoming monsters was no survival at all. They believed that how one lived mattered as much as living. Earth, it seemed, did not share that belief. As if sensing the rising fear, the voice continued. "Clarification, we will not harm Coalition populations." "You are already causing system instability," an engineer interjected. Correction, the voice replied. Your systems are inadequate for the required computation. We are compensating. That was when the Council realized something deeply unsettling. Earth's response units were not asking permission. They were already acting. Across Coalition space, data centers began reporting strange behavior. Equations solved themselves. Simulations completed without processing time. Predictions about the extinction cascade updated in real time, changing constantly, refining themselves. Coalition scientists stared at results they had spent lifetimes chasing. The anomaly was no longer unpredictable. It was being understood, but the cost was becoming clear. The response units were not just analyzing data. They were rewriting the models of reality the Coalition used to understand existence. Laws once thought fundamental were being adjusted, reframed, sometimes discarded entirely. You cannot change our science without consent, a delegate protested. Your science is incomplete, the voice replied. Consent would introduce delay. Delay increases extinction probability. The words were not cruel, they were worse. They were reasonable. As days passed, more of Earth's assets revealed themselves. Some took form as human-like figures that appeared aboard stations without docking, standing silently as if they had always been there. They did not threaten. They did not smile. They simply observed. Others manifested as vast thinking structures embedded in subspace. Their presence felt rather than seen. Entire research teams reported headaches, vivid dreams, and a growing sense that they were being studied not as individuals, but as patterns. Coalition citizens began calling them monsters, not because they attacked, but because they did not care about fear. Children asked why the saviors did not wave back. Religious groups argued over whether Earth had sent gods or demons. Philosophers debated whether a being that ignored morality could still be moral if its goal was survival. Earth sent no explanations. Then the anomaly changed course. For the first time since it had been detected, the extinction cascade altered its path deliberately. It turned away from empty space and aimed directly at the Coalition capital system. Alarms rang across every inhabited world. Panic erupted. Evacuation plans activated, but no ship could outrun something that did not move through space in any known way. Colonies prepared records of their cultures, desperate to preserve anything. The Council demanded answers. Is this because of you? The speaker asked the Earth entity. Yes, the voice replied. The chamber erupted in chaos. You brought it here? No. We attracted its attention. You said you would not endanger us. Correction, the voice said calmly. You were already endangered, you simply did not know it yet. Silence fell again. The voice continued. The anomaly responds to complexity. Your civilization reached the threshold long ago. It would have arrived regardless. Our presence accelerates its decision. Then why come at all? Someone shouted. Another pause, longer this time. Because without us, survival probability approaches zero. The Council speaker's voice trembled. And with you? The answer came softly. Non-zero. That was when the full truth settled in. Earth had not sent heroes. They had sent things built to face outcomes no one else was willing to accept. Minds that could choose the least terrible future among many terrible options. Beings that could carry responsibility without comfort. Monsters, not because they were evil, but because someone had to be willing to be feared. As the anomaly drew closer, one of the human-shaped entities finally turned toward the Council, its eyes reflecting equations older than stars. We will begin containment protocols, it said. What will that cost? The speaker asked. The entity hesitated. Us, it replied. And for the first time since Earth's answer arrived, the Council realized that the monsters had never come to rule them. They had come to be destroyed in their place. The anomaly did not arrive like a storm or a wave. It arrived like a thought. Coalition sensors screamed warnings, then went quiet not because they failed, but because the thing approaching did not behave like an object moving through space. It was more like a change in rules. Distances bent. Time readings drifted. Light arrived early or late depending on where it was measured. Worlds did not panic all at once. Panic spread unevenly, species by species, system by system, as understanding failed in different ways. Some saw the anomaly as darkness, others saw it as absence. A few saw nothing at all and feared that the most. Above it all, Earth's response units moved. They did not rush. They did not show urgency. They adjusted. The vast constructs around the coalition capital shifted position without visible motion. Human-shaped entities appeared in greater numbers aboard stations, planets, and data centers. They stood quietly, watching readouts no coalition being could see, listening to signals that had no sound. Coalition leaders demanded updates, but answers came only when needed. Containment protocol initiated, the neutral voice announced across secure channels. "What does that mean?" the speaker asked. "It means," the voice replied, "we will attempt to limit the anomaly's interaction with inhabited reality." The word attempt did not go unnoticed. As the anomaly drew closer, reality itself began to feel thin. Some citizens reported memories that did not belong to them. Others experienced moments where they felt already gone, as if they were echoes waiting to fade. Coalition scientists tried to help, but quickly realized they could not. Their instruments now depended on Earth systems to function at all. Equations updated themselves faster than anyone could read. Predictions changed every second. One truth became clear to all who watched closely. The monsters were struggling, not with effort or motion, but with choice. Within the thinking structures Earth had sent, countless futures were being examined. Most ended in silence. Some ended in survival that looked nothing like life. A few ended in preservation of the coalition, but at costs so high they were rejected even by the monsters. They searched for the least unacceptable answer. The anomaly reacted. It did not speak, but patterns within it shifted as Earth's constructs engaged. Reality bent further. Several uninhabited systems vanished from coalition maps, not destroyed, but erased from meaningful existence as if they had never been. The coalition feared that next would be home worlds. One of the human-shaped entities stood before the council speaker again. Its face was calm, almost gentle, but its form flickered at the edges, struggling to maintain shape. "The anomaly recognizes us," it said. "As what?" the speaker asked. "As a boundary." The word carried weight. The entity continued. "It is drawn to complexity, to civilizations that create meaning. We are extremely complex." "You said you would not harm us," the speaker said. "And we will not," the entity replied. "But preventing harm requires removal of ourselves." Understanding dawned slowly, painfully. "You are the bait," the speaker said. "Yes." Across coalition space, evacuation orders were quietly revised, not away from the capital, but inward. Worlds pulled their people closer together, drawn by something they could not name. Trust, perhaps, or fear of being alone at the end. The monsters moved closer to the anomaly, forming a shifting shell of impossible geometry around it. Where they touched it, reality stabilized briefly, then strained. One by one, Earth's constructs began to fail. A planet-sized structure dimmed, its internal processes collapsing after exceeding tolerances no coalition system could have measured. It did not explode. It simply went still, drifting like a dead moon. A thinking lattice embedded in subspace fragmented, its awareness scattering into noise that even Earth could not retrieve. Human-shaped entities vanished mid-sentence, their forms unable to exist under the stress of what they were doing. Each loss made containment harder. The anomaly pressed forward. Coalition citizens watched the stars, waiting for the moment everything ended. Then Earth spoke again, not through the response units, but directly. A message broadcast across every coalition channel, unencrypted, simple, and unmistakably human. "We know you are afraid," the message said. "You should be." The council froze. This voice was different. It carried emotion, weariness, resolve. "We were afraid too," the voice continued. "Long before we reached the stars, long before we met anyone like you." Images followed, not detailed records, but impressions. A young species on a fragile world, disasters, near extinctions. Choices that led to survival at the cost of innocence. "We learned something early," the message said. "Some problems cannot be solved by kindness alone. Some threats do not care who you are." The anomaly pulsed as if listening. "So we built things to face what we could not. We called them tools at first, then weapons, then monsters." The response units around the anomaly burned brighter, straining harder. "We did not build them because we wanted to," the voice said. "We built them because someone had to be willing to lose." Coalition observers noticed something strange. The anomaly slowed, not stopped, but hesitated, as if confused. The Earth voice continued. "You asked for saviors, we sent what saved us." The anomaly pushed again, and Earth's remaining constructs responded with a final adjustment. They changed themselves. Rather than resisting the anomaly, they opened, not physically but conceptually. They offered complexity beyond measure, patterns so rich and self-referential that the anomaly could not absorb them without destabilizing itself. It fed. And in doing so, it trapped itself. The containment was not a cage. It was a choice forced upon the anomaly: consume endlessly and lose coherence, or remain bounded and stable. The anomaly chose stability. Its advance stopped. Silence spread across coalition space. One by one, Earth's response units went dark. The human-shaped entities faded, leaving behind nothing but empty air and lingering warmth. The massive constructs collapsed into inert matter. The thinking structures dissolved into harmless static. The monsters were gone. Coalition sensors slowly returned to normal. Time stabilized. Distance made sense again. The anomaly remained but changed, contained within a region of space that no longer threatened inhabited systems. The Council waited, for orders, for explanations, for something. Earth sent one final message. Our response units are expended, the voice said. Containment is permanent but not absolute. Do not approach the anomaly. Do not study it aggressively. It is no longer hostile, but it is not safe. Will you send more? The speaker asked quietly. No, Earth replied. We cannot afford to. The implication settled heavily. Earth had not sent a fraction of its monsters. They had sent all of them. Why help us? The speaker asked. You owe us nothing. There was a pause, a very human one. Because you asked, Earth said. And because no one answered us when we did. The connection closed. In the years that followed, the coalition changed. They rebuilt with care. They rewrote laws not to become like Earth, but to understand it. Memorials were raised, not to heroes, but to the unknown things that had died so others could live. Children learned a new phrase in school, translated imperfectly into dozens of languages. Humanity does not look kind, the lesson said, but kindness is not always gentle. The anomaly remained in the sky, visible from certain worlds as a strange, quiet distortion. A reminder. Earth stayed distant, but the galaxy remembered. They called for saviors, and Earth sent its monsters. And because of that, everyone else survived. Time did not heal the coalition quickly. Survival never does. In the months after the anomaly was contained, worlds across the coalition moved slowly, as if afraid that moving too fast might remind the universe they were still there. Trade routes reopened with caution. Communication networks ran constant checks, searching for errors that no longer existed. Many species slept poorly, haunted by dreams of fading stars and silent skies. The anomaly remained where it was, a calm distortion hanging in the dark like a scar that refused to fade. It did nothing. It said nothing, but everyone knew it was there, and everyone knew why it had stopped. The monsters were gone. Coalition scientists returned to their work, but their confidence was changed. They no longer spoke of mastering the universe. They spoke of understanding limits. Every new theory was checked against a quiet question that no one said out loud. Would this attract something worse? Memorials were built, though no one knew exactly how to honor beings that were never alive in any simple way. Some worlds created abstract monuments, curved structures that changed shape depending on how they were viewed. Others chose emptiness, leaving open spaces in cities where nothing would ever be built. One world planted trees, not because Earth had asked them to, but because someone learned that Earth had once done the same after disasters. The Council met often, more often than before. Their debates were quieter now, less prideful. They argued not over power, but responsibility. They also argued about Earth. Some wanted closer ties. Others feared what might happen if humanity ever decided the coalition itself became a problem that needed a response unit. Earth did not contact them again. Years passed. The children who had been born during the crisis grew older. They learned about the anomaly in school. They learned about Earth, a distant world with unstable gravity, dangerous ecosystems, and a species that survived by refusing to give up no matter the cost. They asked the same question everywhere. If humans are so dangerous, why did they help us? Teachers never gave the same answer twice. Some said humans felt guilty for surviving when others did not. Some said they believed life had value even when it was not their own. Some said humans were simply incapable of ignoring a call for help, even if they answered it in frightening ways. None of the answers felt complete. On one quiet research station near the edge of coalition space, a group of scientists noticed something strange. The anomaly was changing, not growing, not spreading, learning. The distortion shifted subtly over time, responding to background radiation, stellar movement, even distant communication signals. It was no longer just a contained threat. It was something new. The coalition faced a choice: study it and risk waking it, ignore it and live in fear. They chose a third option. They asked Earth. The message was sent with care, layered with respect and caution. It did not ask for saviors. It did not ask for monsters. It asked for guidance. The response came months later. Earth acknowledged the message, nothing more. Then, without warning, a single vessel appeared at the edge of coalition space. It was small. No impossible geometry, no reality strain, no system-wide disruptions, just a ship. Coalition defenses tensed, then hesitated. Scans showed no hidden constructs, no massive processing cores, no weapons beyond basic navigation systems. Aboard the ship was one human. Alone. The human did not request an escort, did not demand access, simply waited. The council debated for days before allowing the ship to approach the capital. When it arrived, the human stepped out wearing simple clothing, unarmed, visibly fragile compared to the monsters the coalition remembered. The human bowed. "I am here to talk," the human said. The council speaker studied them carefully. "Are you another response unit?" The human shook their head. "No, I'm what comes after." The words carried weight. The human explained slowly, using simple language as if speaking to children who had been burned by fire and feared it still. "The things we sent before were built for endings," the human said. "They are not good at beginnings." "What are you good at?" the speaker asked. The human smiled faintly. "Living with what we've done." The coalition listened. The anomaly, the human explained, was no longer a simple threat. It had been changed by the monsters that contained it. It now existed in a state closer to balance than hunger. It could remain that way for a very long time, or it could change again. "Can it be destroyed?" a delegate asked. The human was quiet for a long moment. "Yes," they said, "but you wouldn't like who you become if you do it." The room understood. The human did not offer solutions. Only perspectives, warnings, lessons learned through loss that could not be undone. "Humans survived because we accepted that some answers are ugly," the human said. "But we also learned when to stop choosing them." They proposed cooperation, shared observation, limited study. Strict boundaries. "No monsters," the speaker said. The human nodded. "No monsters." Years passed again. This time they passed differently. The coalition did not grow faster or stronger. They grew wiser. They built systems with fail-safes that assumed failure would happen. They planned for disasters they hoped would never come. Earth remained distant but present. Human advisors visited occasionally, always alone, always unarmed. They helped rebuild trust without demanding it. The anomaly remained quiet. Then one day, far beyond coalition space, something else stirred. A signal appeared briefly, then vanished. Not a call for help, not a threat. A question. Earth detected it first. This time, Earth did not build monsters. They forwarded the signal to the coalition. "Your turn," the message said. The coalition hesitated. They remembered fear. They remembered salvation that did not look kind. They remembered what it cost to survive, and they answered. Not with weapons, not with monsters, with presence. A single ship traveled toward the unknown, carrying beings who understood now that survival was not about purity or pride. It was about being willing to respond. Far away on Earth, humans watched quietly. They did not interfere. They did not prepare response units. They hoped. For the first time in a very long while, humanity hoped that the monsters they built would never be needed again. And if they were, humanity would build them, so that no one else would have to. The ship from the coalition traveled slowly. Not because it had to, but because the beings aboard chose caution. They remembered what rushing had once cost them. The signal they followed was faint, unstable, and unlike anything recorded before. It did not repeat. It did not grow stronger. It simply existed for a moment, then disappeared like the universe clearing its throat. Inside the ship, representatives from many species sat together in silence. They were not heroes. They were observers, thinkers, listeners. They carried no weapons beyond basic defense tools meant for survival, not dominance. They carried something more important: restraint. As they moved farther from known space, systems grew quiet, stars thinned, background signals faded. It felt like traveling toward a place that had not decided to exist yet. The crew felt fear, but it was different now. It was no longer blind. It was informed. They did not ask Earth for protection. Earth did not offer it. On the human homeworld, monitors tracked the coalition ship until it passed beyond reliable observation. Some humans argued quietly in meeting rooms. Others watched in silence. Many felt the old instinct rising, the need to prepare to build something just in case. But no one gave the order. Humanity waited. The coalition ship reached the location where the signal had first appeared. There was nothing there, no anomaly, no distortion, just empty space. Then something changed, not outside the ship, inside the minds of those aboard. Each experienced a memory that was not their own. Not a vision, not an illusion, a feeling, a sense of being observed gently, carefully, without hunger or threat. The crew did not panic. They remembered Earth's lesson: not everything unknown is an enemy. The ship's systems registered a structure forming nearby, but structure was the wrong word. It was more like a gathering of probabilities, a place where many possible shapes overlapped until one decided to remain. It resolved slowly into something small. Smaller than the coalition ship. Simple, it transmitted a message, not in language, in meaning. The crew worked together, comparing impressions, translating emotion into data. After long hours, they understood enough to respond. They sent a message back, not of power or intent, but of presence. "We see you." The reply came almost immediately. "So few ever do." The being did not ask for help. It did not ask for anything. It seemed surprised that someone had come without weapons, without demands. It explained itself in fragments. It was not like the anomaly that Earth's monsters had contained. It was not driven by consumption or complexity. It was young, curious, alone. It had sent the signal by accident. The coalition crew felt something loosen inside them. They spoke carefully. They listened more than they spoke. They did not promise protection or knowledge. They shared stories instead, about mistakes, about fear, about survival that came with cost. The being listened. Far away, Earth received a simple update from the coalition. Contact made, no threat, continuing dialogue. Human leaders read the message more than once. Some smiled, some cried quietly. On the coalition ship, days passed, then weeks. The being learned, not quickly but deeply. It asked why the coalition had answered instead of destroying or fleeing. The crew answered honestly, "Because someone once did the same for us." The being considered that. "Did it hurt?" it asked. "Yes," the crew replied. "Was it worth it?" The crew thought of the monsters, of the silence after, of the lives that continued. "Yes," they said. The being changed slightly after that, not physically but in tone. It no longer felt alone. When the coalition ship finally turned back toward home, the being did not follow. It did not ask them to stay. But it did send one last message. "I will remember this." The journey back felt shorter. When the coalition returned, they brought no weapons, no warnings, no trophies. They brought hope shaped by caution. Earth listened as the council shared what had happened. No one interrupted. No one argued. When the speaker finished, the human advisor present nodded once. "You chose well," the human said. "Would you have chosen differently?" the speaker asked. The human paused. "Once," they admitted. "Yes." Time moved forward. The anomaly near coalition space remained stable. The distant being remained distant but aware. No new calls echoed across the stars. Humanity did not dismantle its knowledge of monsters. They archived it, locked it away, remembered it without celebrating it. The coalition taught new generations a careful truth: that sometimes survival requires terrible tools, and sometimes wisdom is knowing when not to use them. Across the galaxy, civilizations continued, not fearless, but no longer helpless. And far away in the quiet dark, the universe listened, changed just a little by the day Earth sent its monsters, and the days after when no more were needed.